I believe we are live. Good evening, everybody. So I am just going to be trying to sort out the technical side of this. Uh, Bear with me a second. I believe we're live. I hope we are. I hope you can all see me. I hope you can all hear me. If you can't, please do let me know. Let me open the comments section so I can see what's actually happening. John, if you're watching, please do let me know if it's working. Let's just test this. Section so I can see what's actually happening. Yes, it's working. Amazing. So I can hear myself 3 times. Okay, good evening, guys. I'm going to keep this as short as I can, but giving you the most amount of value that I can. One thing I want to say before we kick off, before I introduce myself, before we start with the 12-month plan to actually get you to hand your notice in, is I just want to let you know that I am home alone this evening. My wife is out enjoying herself. She's gone to the theatre. And that means I have the baby monitor. So at any given moment, if that does go off, I am going to have to put the webinar on pause, deal with my daughter, and then come back to you. How real can you get, right? You know, so many people come to these and think, oh, it was pre-recorded and this, that, and the other. Well, that right there is proving that this is not pre-recorded. Okay, so we got Michael involved, we got Dave, we got Dawn. Nice to see you guys. So let's start sharing our screen and let's kick off with the webinar. Okay, so let's make that the whole screen. And let's just make sure that that's pulling through onto what you can see. I believe it is. Okay, so do you like all our new branding? Do you like all our new colors, our new everything? It's amazing, isn't it? You can thank John for that because it's yeah, he's pulled all this together, and it's well, you'll see why I'm so excited very, very soon. I promise you. So, how to quit your job in a year with rent to rent. Now, look, I've done it, and so many other people have done it. Where we promise people that you can change. Sorry, I've got a cat here on me. Change your life in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 90 days, 30 days, whatever it is. But let's just look at what can actually be achieved in a 12-month period. Let's be realistic about this and let's put a solid plan in place for you. Okay, so here we go. This is what we're going to go through. So we'll introduce, for those of you that don't know who I am, although most of you, if you're in this group, probably see my face every day, but I'll introduce myself a little bit. We'll go through a few examples of what's been done, deals have been done. We'll then go through the 12 steps. Okay, so there's 12 steps, 12-month plan. And then we'll just touch a little bit on how we can help. We'll touch on that throughout. And don't worry, this is not a pitch to sell you our mentorship. I promise you that. Okay, wait and see. And then our community, and then question and answer. If you do have any questions throughout it, please drop a comment below, and John will either answer it or he'll flag it for me. Let me just plug my phone in so it doesn't die throughout this. But yeah, if you're excited for this, if you're enjoying my energy, whatever it is, please drop a thumbs up or a comment below. Let us know where you are, where you're watching it from, where in the UK. If in the UK, you might be somewhere else. I don't know. Okay, let's just go back before we jump into those. So introductions. Let's just briefly stop sharing the screen so you can actually see who I am. I'm Matt. I am the founder of the Rent-to-Rent Property University. I have been in property for just short of 5 years. I'm a ship's captain by trade. I've sailed all over the Med, the Caribbean, transatlantic with 2 cats on board on a tiny 40-foot boat. I've done stints in Taiwan. I actually flew through Hong Kong airport when they had all those riots and everything else. So I've traveled the world and experienced a lot. I then wanted to get out of that industry. I had a little girl. I needed to settle down. I needed to be at home with my family. So I tried everything, right? I tried Amazon FBA. I tried drop shipping, Forex trading, copy pro traders. You name it, I tried it, right? It didn't work. At least it didn't work for me. I know people that have done it and it's succeeded, but it didn't work for me. And then Facebook, in all its wisdom, dropped a targeted advert in front of me, and I went off to this 2-day property event that was £1, and I ran to the back of the room with my credit card like absolute idiot. and I paid for a course that I couldn't afford at the time. And I even didn't tell my wife. I just snuck off and had my mentoring calls every fortnight. Now, in retrospect, in hindsight, whatever the word is, shouldn't have done it. I wasn't in a position to do it, but actually by spending that money, it committed me to the industry. It committed me to making it work, which is something that I now understand from being on the coaching side, that you need that commitment from somebody, you need that pain point. It's not always about lining somebody's pockets. It's also about showing you're committed to something and getting yourself motivated. So that's who I am. John, the other mentor, completely different background, tax and research and development background. And he actually texted me one night saying, I'm fed up with my job, Matt. I was sat in a pub, I was quite drunk, and I texted him saying, leave work and join me. And he did. And we're both here. So that's basically who we are, what we do. So let's dive back into the webinar, which I appear to have lost. Here with me, guys. Let me pull it back up. This is going so well, isn't it? I hope you're enjoying this. There we go. We got Dawn. Amazing. Anybody else want to say where you're from, what you do? Are you in rent to rent already? Are you looking to get involved in rent to rent? As I said, there is no massive sales pitch on this webinar. Shocking, I know, but there isn't. Right, here we go. We got it back. I don't know what happened then. Sorry, guys. I must have closed it instead of just minimizing it. So there's that. Let's get back into it. So we're here. Right, examples. So here we go. On the left-hand side, that's one of my mentees. Look at those mountains they painted there. Unreal. £1,500 profit from one rent to SA unit right there. And it's been full ever since they've had it. The one in the middle, that's a rent to HMO. £900 profit from one rent to HMO. That one, the rent on that, I think, is about 1,250 for a 5-bed HMO. Absolutely crazy, right? And then the one on the right there is one of our other mentees, Mitch. That's his property there. £2,200 profit. So from those three alone, you've got over £4,000 a month in profit. Absolutely unreal. So when people come to me and say, oh, I don't know how much, what can I actually make and this, that, and the other, proof's in the pudding. It's right there in front of you. Okay. It is possible to make some absolutely astounding amounts. So here we go. Let's jump into the 12 steps. Now, first one is, and as I said, there's no sales pitch. It's educate yourself. You don't know what you don't know. And that's something that I got taught years ago, but it's so true. You don't know where the gaps in your knowledge are. You don't know what you don't know. I don't really care how you do it, whether you self-educate yourself, whether you take on a mentor, whether you go on a training academy, whatever you want to do, just make sure you educate yourself. And this comes from a place of somebody who took on rent-to-rent units before I educate myself through a deal sourcer. Now, look, I'm a sourcer as well. So, I'm not dissing sources, but I took deals on before I knew how to analyze them, how to understand what a good deal was, what a bad deal was, or anything like that. And it did not work for me. Okay. I lost thousands upon thousands of pounds on these deals. So educate yourself, get the understanding, get the knowledge. Now, read that last bit there. You can get 99% of all of our training program, all of the knowledge for free on our SKOOL community. Now, why are we doing that? Look, the actual knowledge, the actual how to, right? How to do it, you can find it anywhere, right? You can find it in books on a shelf. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on Instagram. You can find it on TikTok. You can find it anywhere. So what I'm trying to do with SKOOL, or what we are doing, not trying, what we are doing is we are giving you the majority of it all for free. Because the reality is when somebody pays for a mentorship, and this is what I mean, I'm not actually pitching here for mentorship, but when somebody pays for a mentorship program, they're actually paying for the person. They're paying for the implementation, the support, the guidance, not the knowledge, right? The knowledge they can get. We've got mentees who already know what they're doing. They've already done other training programs. They know how to do it. It's the support, the guidance, having that person at the end of a phone, as and when you need them. That's what people pay for. So that's why we're able to give it all away for free. So that there, that in that PC screen, that's actually our Rent-to-Rent Property University School group. So if you want a link to that, I'm sure there is going to be a link. John maybe put one in. If not, I'll drop one in the comments, or John could drop a link to school in the comments below this. There we go. So let's just chat. We've got Craig from Maidstone, Chris from Sevenoaks in Kent. I believe my auntie lives there. We've got Dave up in Dundee, Dawn, yeah, and we got Simon. Brilliant. So, okay, Dawn, don't even do rent-to-rent, but I love your energy and enthusiasm. So refreshing to hear. Yeah. Perfect. So I actually know Dawn. Dawn and I go quite far back. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dawn. When I first read that, don't even do rent-to-rent, I thought you were telling everybody don't do rent-to-rent. Here we go. So month 2, point number 2. Prioritize cash flow. Now, look, normal property investing is about, buying an asset, the long-term growth, the capital growth, all of that side of stuff. Rent-to-rent is a cash flowing business, right? That's all it is. Okay, it's just cash flow. You're not actually investing into an asset. It's just cash flow. Okay, so prioritize that, right? But then you've got 2 different types. You've got your active and you've got your recurring. Okay, what's the difference? So your recurring is month on month. You've got a rent-to-rent portfolio that does very, very well, and it just recurs every single month. You get your income coming in. Now, the most stable recurring in the rent-to-rent world is the HMO, right? Because you know how much a room's making, you know how much your bills are. Simple. Your active is things like sourcing, right? There's loads of other ones, but that's the main one that we're going to talk about this evening. Is the sourcing is your active. Okay, there we go. John's dropped a thing in a link in there for our SKOOL community. So there we go. Once you start prioritizing this and you understand it, right? So your first month, or what I generally say, 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to be educating yourself. Even when I do my full mentorship program, I don't advocate that people just start picking up the phone and going hell for leather ringing agents, because you don't know what you're doing, right? I want you to learn everything about this. I'm not talking about how to manage guests or how to deal with the back end stuff. I'm just talking about everything you need to know about company let agreements, how we speak to landlords, how we negotiate with landlords, the fact that we do not use scripts. I cannot tell you that enough. Do not use a script. They are terrible, right? All of this is education. You need to learn it. Yes, then you start making your phone calls. Then you start sending your messages. And we do that gradually over a 6 to 8 week period. But you need to know what you're doing. And more than anything, you need to know your location like back of your hand. And please do not use AirDNA to work that out. It is terrible. Okay, so please do it yourself. So understand it, educate yourself, start prioritizing, get into your head that you're prioritizing the cash flow, and then start deal sourcing. So just one deal, if you are fully compliant and you have investors yourself, will give you £3,000 in the bank. If you are co-sourcing, it will give you potentially £1,500 in the bank. Okay, so why co-source? Now, look, as a sourcer, you will come up against a lot of people, investor side of things, that will go, yeah, but have you done this before? What's your experience like? Blah, 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 right? That's where co-sourcing comes in, because you find the deal, great. Then you find somebody who's got the investor ready to go. Now, we hold the cheat code here. We have hundreds of thousands of pounds in active investors sat there ready to go. So anybody, excuse me, that is within our community, within our mentorship program, can sell deals through us to our investors. Point in case, we have just, I believe it's about £200,000 that we've spent over the past couple of months of investors' money to set them up with deals. Okay, so if you want to co-source with us, if you want to put deals through us, or if you've got investors and you want deals, that's the best part about this. It can work both ways. Then get in touch. Sorry, just letting my dog out of the room here. Get in touch, DM me co-source, and we can discuss how we can work with you to sell deals and to get money in your pocket. But this is what I mean. This is active cash flow, not recurring cash flow, but you are prioritizing this cash flow, okay, to push it forwards, right? The other thing that you can do with co-sourcing is you don't even need to have either side of the party. You can find somebody who's got an investor, and you can find somebody who's got a deal, and put those two together, and then take a third. So then you take £1,000 and you split it 3 ways. There are so many different ways to do this. It is unbelievable. But this is how you can quite easily start with very little money. You know, I hate it when you see no money down, because you're never going to find a no money down rent to rent deal. It's just not happening. Okay. It is going to cost you £5,000 to £10,000 to take on one rent to rent deal. Okay. Now there's loads of criteria as to what makes that deal a good deal. The main one is that it pays back within 10 months, right? That's what you're looking at. But if you haven't got the money to take those on, then you can easily start co-sourcing or start sourcing, you know, and bish bash bosh. You replicate it, you keep going, right? So you move fast, you have a plan, you take action. The issue is, what is the alternative, right? I speak to, obviously, within the mentoring program, I speak to a lot of people that are interested in rent to rent. And one of the issues is, a lot of people come to us and they're thinking, yeah, but, you know, I've only got X amount. So, you know, once I've potentially paid for mentorship, if that's the route they go down, or potentially taken on one deal, then I haven't got enough to do anymore. And that's true. It is. That is true. So why not then source deals? There you go. John's answering. Sorry, I went silent then reading Craig's information. Why don't you get your own deal and then source deals? And then every time you get to, you know, £5,000 to £10,000 in the bank account, you then buy another deal. And we'll go through this in a minute, right? But it loves speed. Property loves speed. Point in case, one of my contacts in Chester, just around here, at about 8 o'clock in the morning, sent me a screenshot of a property that had gone on open rent about 5 doors down from one of my rent to rents, right? And this one's been absolutely brilliant. And she sent it to me first thing in the morning. By the time I'd gone to school, dropped my little one off at school, come back, had a cup of coffee, sat down ready to get in touch with that landlord, it had gone. And it went on the night before. So if you're not fast, you're not going to make it work, right? Property loves speed, so you have to be quick. And that's not just rent to rent, that's any property strategy. Speed, sort of time will kill deals, okay? The alternative is you wait and you think, right, well, I want to take on 3 rent to rent deals. So potentially that's, I don't know, £25,000. So, okay, I'm going to save, I'm going to wait. But then how long is it going to take you realistically to save 25 grand? Rather than going, do you know what? I've got 10 in the bank. Let's go for it. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to get educated, however you want to do it, right? And I'm going to start doing rent to rent. And I'm going to take one on. And then I'm going to source. And then I'm going to take another one on. And then I'm going to source and take another one on. Makes a lot more sense, right? Rather than just waiting. Because if you wait, you'll never do it. You'll jump on one of these webinars in a year's time. And you'll still be where you are now. So get to it. There you go, month 5, invest. So source one more deal. Take on your first rent to SA unit. 8K invested, and this is where we start going through how the numbers can compound. So you take on the first one, 8K invested, it makes you £800 per month. I love how John's put 800 quid. Love it. We are down with the crowd. I can't believe I've just said that live on Facebook. Oh well. There we go. And you source 2 more deals. Your 6K profit, 1K remaining, right, from your previous deals, plus your £800. You've now got 7,800 quid. Guess what happens? You source another 2 deals. You take one for yourself and you source one on. You've got 3K in. Gives you 10 and a half. You take on another rent to rent deal. You now have £2,800 plus 2 units, making you 1,600 quid a month. Do you see how this compounds then? By learning to source, it allows you to actually grow so much quicker. And one of the things that people really, really struggle with is they think, right, I'm a sourcer. Right, no, I'm looking for myself. The criteria should be exactly the same. So my advice is just go and find deals. If the money is in the bank, take them yourself. If the money's not in the bank, source the property on. Simple as that. Stop thinking about it as 2 completely different strategies, because it's not. As long as the deal stacks, and if it's a deal you would take, then you should source it. Do not, and this is one reason, and maybe some of you have followed me for a while. I do have a major problem with some sources in the market because they are god awful and they will sell absolute garbage, right? Please do not become one of those people. If you are sourcing a deal that you would not take on if you didn't have the money in the bank, sorry, if you did have the money in the bank, do not source that deal. Simple as that, right? One, it's immoral. Two, it could come back and bite you in the backside, right? Doesn't matter how good your contracts are, it could, right? And three, well, I suppose it's just not being a nice person, is it? Okay, here we go. So then you've built relationships. You've got investors on tap. Now, what do I mean by building the relationships? Let's take the scenario of somebody coming in, taking one unit and then waiting for that cash flow to compound over 6 months, right, from the profits to then go and take on another one. You've lost all the relationships you've built. You've lost the relationships with the agents, with any landlords you had contact with, with anybody in the industry, because you've just been in the shadows. You've not really done anything. Whereas if you're sourcing, you're speaking to agents every week. So you're constantly getting deals. So when there is money in the bank, it's like, yeah, I've got money. Right. Hello. Yeah, I need a deal. Rather than, oh, right, now I've got money in the bank. Right, let's start the process again. And then you're looking at, 6 to 8 weeks, however long, to find the deal. Loads of calls, loads of messages, trying to build those relationships again. So if you're continuously doing this, you're continuously building those relationships and maintaining those relationships. You've also then got investors. So then any deals you start getting through, and trust me, agents will start messaging you directly with deals rather than you chasing them. You can just put it in front of investors and it becomes a conveyor belt. So in 8 months, you source 4 deals. That's 12K in active income. You got 4.5, just shy, in the bank already, plus 1,600 recurring, right? 18K you've now got to play with, right? Bearing in mind, in this scenario, right, you haven't actually put any money in. You've just been sourcing. Yes, you've done the money to set up, get compliant and all the rest of it, but you've not put any money in to do all this. Right, just a quick, I'm not expecting you to read all of those, but just a quick sort of, that picture there, that was one of our workshops that we do. So we don't do these flashy, hey, look at me live events. We do workshops. You bring your laptop, you bring your pen and paper, and we actually get down and analyze deals, analyze areas, call agents, get deals in the room. That's what we like to do. And these are just a few little testimonials. Sarah, absolute shining star. She's the one in the greeny bluey dress there. Mitch has absolutely flown, and lovely old Nigel at the bottom there. Nigel actually couldn't make, he's not in that picture, he couldn't make it, but absolutely love Nigel. And these guys are all absolutely smashing it within Rent to Rent. Okay, back to this. So month 9, you've got recurring cash now, right? That's the thing. We're winning. We've gone from active, which is your sales, right? Which as soon as you stop selling, the tap turns off, to recurring. Okay, if I have a week off, the money's still going to come in. And that's where everybody wants to come in. That's where this financial freedom, which by the way, I don't think exists, that's where that comes into play, is recurring income. So you've got 18K in the bank. Let's take on another 2 deals. We're now hitting £3,200 and it's been 9 months. We haven't actually put any money into this yet. All we've done is educate ourselves, understand what the hell we're doing, and hit the ground running and move like a bloody bolt of lightning. We move fast and we work hard and we graft. Right. So now we know how to make money. We've got enough. Right. Let's think about that. £3,200 a month. That's enough to get most people out of work. And we've done that in 9 months. Now, what I would say is you'd probably then stay in work for a few more months, right? I think I might have even written that. Yeah, there you go. I've even written it there. So let's continue for a month or 2, right? Sell a few more deals, keep the cash flow going, get some active cash flow going, and get yourself to a position where you're about 1.5 times your current income. The reason I say that, and look, I've had this thrown at me for so long, where mentors, trainers, gurus, all this sort of stuff have all said, right, the minute that you can leave your job and survive on the bare minimum, then you should. But do you know what that does? It doesn't do it to everybody, right? But my personality, it does. It puts pressure on it, puts stress on you. And then when you do inevitably in rent to rent have a slightly bad month in one of your units, your stress levels go through the roof, and then you stop actually focusing on growing it, and you can't sell it, and this, that, and the other. So you end up absolutely stressed. You start pulling your hair out, and it all falls to pieces. So why would you do that to yourself? I get the premise of it, where you should, you know, what they're thinking is you're then struggling, so you're pushing yourself to grow and to take on more units, and you've got more time in order to do that, so that you grow and scale that way. But actually, I'd rather people be safe and secure, and actually, it depends on your circumstance as well. For me, a dad, a husband, I've got 2 dogs, a cat, a house, 2 cars, all the rest of it. I can't be putting all of that at risk. Somebody, one of our mentees, Matty's 20, he's in a gap year from university at the moment. Somebody like that lives at home with mum and dad. Yeah, he can probably afford to take the risk and jump from work as soon as he possibly can, right? So it does depend on your circumstance, but please do make sure you are doing it carefully and safely when you do eventually leave work. But there we go. What happens next? What's happened over that 12 months is you've sourced, so you've got a lot of investors on tap. You've had to be active on social media in order to get the investors. Okay, so you've documented your entire journey. People have seen you in the space of 10 months go from absolutely who the hell is this person to, oh my God, they're now in a position to leave work and they're absolutely flying, right? That builds attraction. People will follow that, right? And that track record, that experience, that knowledge that you've now built, you then hit social media and start raising finance. And you start building your cash pot in the background, bringing in private investors, 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever it is. You start building that cash pot, right? And you're raising that finance. Then you take your leap. You leave work. You've got your cash pot there. You've got your recurring income coming in from your rent-to-rent portfolio, which this is, by the way, how everybody should be looking at rent-to-rent. This is not a long-term strategy. You do not want to be in 10, 15, 20 years' time still reliant on your rent-to-rent portfolio. You want your rent-to-rent portfolio to get you free, to get you noticed, to get you out of work, so you can then focus on the bigger picture, growing your asset column, whatever it may be, whether it's properties, whether you're buying businesses, as we are at the moment, we're buying a business. All of these different things are where rent to rent should let you go. So within that 5-year period that you should have your leases for, you've set yourself up, you've replaced that rent to rent income and more with assets that you then don't have to worry about a landlord pulling the lease at the end of the 5 years. So you can also grow, as I've said there, you grow your rent to rent business if you want to, double it, get yourself to 10 grand a month through rent to rent, easy. Right? But then also think of your asset column. I hope that makes a lot of sense to everybody. Okay, a couple more examples just before we jump into the final part of this evening. If you've enjoyed this, please drop a message, drop a comment. Any questions you've got now, we're coming up to the question and answer section, so start dropping them down below. But here we go, there's another 3 deals right there. I love that one in the middle. Absolutely love it. But there we go. One on the left. We've started putting pool tables, dartboards, all sorts of things into rent to SAs just to be slightly different. So £1,000 profit from that one. The middle one, 100 nights within like 2 days of it going live online, 100-night booking. And now we've just had that 100 nights has come to an end. It's just had another extension for a couple of months. I think maybe even into the new year. Don't quote me on that one, but I think so. And the one on the right there, £2,000 profit. Absolutely unbelievable numbers, but they are all achievable, aren't they? So, as it says there, it's all achievable with the right support. Now, as I said at the start, we're not pitching our mentorship here at all. I don't want to do that. I don't want any of you thinking that we're doing that. I'm not, right? And to be quite frank, I don't care if you come to us for education of any description or somebody else, right? I can actually see in the comments that there's a couple of the mentors in this space bashing around. That's absolutely fine. Go anywhere, absolutely anywhere. I do not mind, as long as you understand what you're doing before you start taking on rent-to-rent deals. If you just go out there and go, right, I've got 20 grand, I want some rent-to-rents, let's just get in touch with a deal sourcer. You'll get people spam you on social media. Buy this deal, buy that deal, buy this, do this. Yeah, sign this. Right? You'll get, oh, is it a good deal? The deal source, yeah, it's fine. It's great. Can I see the head lease? Oh, no. The landlord's told me it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about head lease. Right? All these things start coming in, but because you don't know what the hell you're doing, you'll just go, yeah, fine, and sign it. And you'll get into a deal. And then potentially, as happened to me, within 2 weeks of it going live, you get turfed out of the property because it's not actually allowed in the property. Right? Or I had the same thing happen before I even managed to get it live. I'd gone in there, I spent £5,000 getting a painter and decorator and everything else done, right? 5 grand. And it didn't even make it to Airbnb. We got shut down before we took a booking. And then the landlord was completely like, nope, take me to court. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I just trusted a deal sourcer. So if you don't know what you're doing, you need support one way or another. Now, lucky for you, as I've said, we're not pumping this, we're not pushing this, right? Yes, obviously, if anybody wants to talk about the rent to rent university and the support and guidance and help and all of that side of stuff, the implementation, the actual us, me and John, then yes, please do reach out. There'll be a link in a second, right? But this is what I want you guys to look at. I want you to join SKOOL. It's interactive. It's what Facebook communities used to be 3, 4, 5 years ago, before they just became groups of 15,000 people like this one, where nobody really interacts and you just see spam all day. Short form content, hooks, this, that, and the other, reels, all the rest of it. SKOOL is different. As we've said at the start, we are literally giving rent-to-rent training, how to get started, onboarding, all of that, mini course, ebook, documents. It's all there. We are giving 99% of the how away for free. So please do go and check that out, right? Please do, because it's at the moment the community is free. Once we hit 200 members, we are going to then put a charge on the community. By charge, I mean like 50, 100 quid a month, something like that, which when you think about it, if to get all of that stuff for 50 quid a month or 100 quid a month, whatever it's going to be fine. But if you're in there, by the way, before it goes paid, then you don't pay, you get it anyway. So it makes sense to go and join. Okay, so please do look at that. Oh, here we go. And there's our there's our mentorship program. So full mentorship. So the first 6, whilst it's there, I wasn't going to plug it, but I will now. Honestly, I didn't intend this. First 6 weeks, I insist on a 1-hour session, one-to-one with me, to accelerate and answer any questions, because those first 6 weeks, your learning curve is going to be like that. Okay. You get lifetime access to all of the videos, teachings on the SKOOL platform, and it's updated weekly. That's the advantage of SKOOL over, Kajabi hosted videos or anything like that. With SKOOL, we are going to be putting new videos every single week on a new topic that crops up, something that changes. When Labour eventually drops the bomb on what they're going to do quite soon, we'll be updating it. Okay. You'll get the full online video series on both Rent to SA and Rent to HMOs. We can also help you with purchase lease options and obviously sourcing as well, right? You get the weekly roundtable Zoom sessions supporting you. And there's actually 2. There's one 7:30 till 8:30, which is your beginners. And then once you've, got a few deals, then you move on to the advanced, where we talk more about branding, business awareness, business growth, things like that. You get the WhatsApp community. Basically just a group of amazing people, but it's not one of these groups where there's hundreds of people in there, so you never get your answers sorted. You get your in-person masterminds events every quarter, which, as I said, are the workshops, and you get my personal WhatsApp to support you throughout. That's the big one. I did a post the other day saying, if you don't believe me, here's my number, and actually 3 people did actually text me just to see if it was me, and it was me. Right, you actually get my number. Right, there we go. If you want to apply for the mentorship, then there is our fancy new QR code. If you want to join SKOOL, there is the link in the comments. At the very least, right, if you've spent the past hour watching me, at the very least, just go and join SKOOL. It doesn't cost you anything, and you're going to get literally thousands of pounds worth of course for free. So why would you not? So please go and join SKOOL. And any questions? Let's open it up for that. Well, let's do question and answers, and I'll leave the QR code on for about 5 minutes. Any questions at all? Drop them in the comments. Anything to do with rent to rent. I'm sorry if I'm a bit excitable tonight, by the way. Just so excited about school. Honestly, John and I have been like little kids since we've been setting it up. It is buzzing. No questions? See if any of it comes through. No, no questions come through. Wow, we bashed through that in 35 minutes. I thought we'd been on here for an hour. Wow. Craig, John answered that. Yeah, there you go. Craig, so yeah, with compliance, it's a grey area, right? But yes, it's something we work with you on. What I'd always suggest is once you've sold your first deal and you get your first 1,500 quid in, get compliant anyway, because then there's no issue, right? But the first deal, then we will take the lead on, just to take that pressure away. Is it called the rent to rent school? No, it's in that QR code, Dawn, is not the that's not the SKOOL community. The SKOOL community, John's dropped a link in the comments. John, if you're watching, just drop another one. What do you think will change the property world under Labour? Wow. Do we want to stay on for another hour, guys? Who knows, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think there's been so much dropped around that, look, people are always going to need somewhere to stay. Yes, they're trying to screw us a little bit on tax and things like that. But reality is, whatever it is, we're going to be able to navigate through it. It's not going to be as bad as everybody's making out. Yes, for your traditional landlord that hasn't got the property in a limited company and they've just got one property, or your accidental landlords or things like that, yes, there's going to be implications. Yes, for your sort of large portfolio landlords, they're going to be stung a little bit more on tax and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're going to be able to navigate it. We are going to be able to get through it. If we're now talking about the changes for the service accommodation market, again, this is targeted more to try and combat the second homes in places like Cornwall, West Wales, and things like that, where, you know, they are deserted through the winter. So I understand it, and I actually support it all, right? What they're saying about, you know, licenses, registration. You wouldn't have a HMO without a license and a registration, would you? You wouldn't stay in a hotel that wasn't held to regulation, right? You go and stay in a hotel, and then somebody say, yeah, that wasn't fire safe. You know, there were no fire alarms, or yeah, doors weren't fire doors. You know, if there was a fire in there, you just all crisp. You wouldn't stay in there, would you? So I actually think what the government are proposing when it comes to the service accommodation market is a good thing. What it will also do is it will make a lot of people exit the market, stage left or right, whichever way you're looking. That's actually a good thing, because there's going to be a lot of people that won't spend the money to get their properties compliant. A lot of people that have got properties from years ago, which, you know, they don't want to spend the money on to get them compliant. There's going to be a lot of people who are doing them in apartments where they're not allowed on the head lease, so they won't be allowed to do it. Right. So a lot of these people, mainly rent to renters, that aren't prepared to do it, haven't set themselves up correctly, don't know what they're doing, they'll have to exit the market. But for those of us that know what we're doing, those of us that have support, look at this, the support, we'll be able to navigate it. Same as HMOs. Everybody was like, oh my God, HMO's dead when they brought in, you know, licensing, and then with Article 4 and everything else. HMO, the strategy is dead. It's not going to happen. Actually, it's good. I applaud it. But yeah, if we're going back to, you know, the budget in October and things like that, everything at the moment, yes, there's been bits that have come out, you know, but there's a lot of speculation. The actual changes to, you know, things like Section 21 and things like that, actually, again, we could spin that into a positive, because Section 21 doesn't apply to company lets. So when we're actually speaking to landlords who are now terrified about the fact that they're not going to be able to evict people, we can go, well, with us, you haven't got that issue. You know, we've got a break clause. When it gets to that break clause, you give us a certain, number of days notice, we're out. Job done. You don't have to worry about Section 21. It literally doesn't apply to us anyway. So actually, we can spin it into a positive. This is what I mean. We always adapt to what we've been presented, right? So that's all it is. So try not to overstress about that. Try not to over worry about that. Over worry or worry at all. Any other questions? If not, we shall leave it there. I hope you've all had fun. If you want to join SKOOL, please follow the SKOOL link John's just dropped. If you want to book a call with me, please scan that QR code. If you're on the phone, we'll drop another link for booking a call, or just DM, the word call, or send me a message, whatever it is. Get in touch with me. We've got a few slots on tomorrow afternoon, a few open appointments on Thursday afternoon, and a few on Friday morning, maybe 1 or 2 on Saturday. So if you want to have a chat, then please do let me know. Otherwise, I hope you've all enjoyed. I'm going to admit now, I have absolutely no idea how to stop this live video. So good with this, aren't I? What's happening? Here we go. Facebook and live video. There we go. Hope you've had fun. I'll catch you all soon. Take care.